welcome you here for another edition of our puppet show, which we offer with contrition. Because to make this year funny would take a magician. And so just be glad we didn't charge admission. This year was a rough one. It's not what we'd prefer. It could have been much better, I'm sure you'd concur. But there was one bright spot to which I could refer. The election of our own Larry Krasner. Some people have asked how we write these puppet show scripts. How we all stay friends and don't ruin relationships. Especially in years like this where it's hard to get a grip. And one of the only cool things was the solar eclipse. Eclipse of the heart. So while you sit there and your beer and soda do quaff, we'll show you the backstory before our little show takes off. We hope you appreciate it and it's not a turn-off, like Coco's 22-minute trailer with that snowman Olaf. In mid-November begins our process. Mike writes a hilarious script.
I'm very impressed.
Then Alisha reviews.
This is so neoliberal, I must express.
So they call in the pros, Susannah and Jess.
And Zora!
Working together, they put in some jokes and some politics, one by one. They try to find humor in a year that has none. It's maddening, it's annoying, but most of all, fun. And finally, about an hour ago, they had their final version. About this year in review, this show's apropos. It's half funny, and half manifesto. But we hope that it has a good flow. So sit back, please, and enjoy the show.
Mr. Grinch, you really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus, you're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel.
Every Who down in Whoville had a warm, decent soul. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, was kind of a jerk. The Grinch hated people, but not every person. As skin tones got darker, his hate started to worsen. And people with lady parts too made him twitch. In fact, everyone but the powerful rich. It's not hard to know why, though his tweets defy reason. And though his diplomacy looks a lot like treason. But we think the most likely explanation of all is capitalism. Oh, and that maybe his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or the system, he stood there just hating those who's who dismissed them.
My woohoos.
Staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm, lighted windows below in the town. Now, you may ask, how did this Grinch, who had a history of fails, arrive in this position where we must tell these tales? Well, a little bit of misogyny racism off the scale.
I did it backwards.
Some help from the Russians. And what about those emails? The Grinch hated Whoville. If you knew him, you'd agree.
I want to take healthcare away from the young, and the retiree. Take your cane. I hate blacks and Latinos who want to be free.
He was mean.
Definitely
He was also kind of kofufi. So when he looked down at Whoville, he said with a sneer,
They wish for a better future and the right to be here.
Then he growled with his Grinch finger nervously drumming.
I must find some way to keep their future from coming.
For he thought the Who girls and boys were like monsters.
I want to be winner and conquer. I don't want any of them to ever prosper.
He wanted to be Moonlight, not La La Land at the Oscars.
I would start by refusing all refugees. And then faster than an Anthony Scaramucci, I would turn all immigrants into deportees. And for good measure, I'd end net neutrality.
When they asked him about climate change, he would say,
Nah. I'm only here for the elites and the bourgeois. I don't need to follow your silly laws. I'm going to reverse every last good thing from Obama. Oh no. Yeah, it is.
So he continued to wreck things with his touch. He would push through elites like Judge Neil Gorsuch. He would okay the pipelines and cut back regulations and ignore the brown victims of hurricane devastation.
Tú eres el imán y yo soy el metal. Me voy acercando y voy armando el plan. Solo pensarlo se acelera el pulso.
Then he got an idea.
Ah!
An awful idea.
I'll show.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I'll show those football players who take a knee. I'll show those hikers in bare ears who hug a tree. I'll show those transgender Americans who want peace to pee. This idea is the best idea since casting Kendall Kardashian in an ad for Pepsi. I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he shuffled and clucked.
What a great Grinchy look! What a great Grinchy trick! With this coat, with this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. I'll take all their Christmas trees, cookies and felt, their Kwanzaa candles and Hanukkah gelt. I'll take their solstice blessings and rituals. With them, I'll build a huge border walls. All I need is a reindeer. Reindeer.
Well, the Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there were none to be found. But did that stop the old Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said,
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
so he contacted Uber Sled. Then he took some green thread and tied a big horn on his driver's forehead. The driver took the reins of the sled in his palm, and the Grinch commanded the sled to move on. But the driver didn't move.
Move on.
She was utterly calm.
Move on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Grinch, but I follow Islam.
What?
I can't leave this mountain due to the travel ban
What?
that you wrote and signed with your very own hand.
Oh, no.
I know that visiting Whoville was in your game plan,
What?
but I'm prohibited from traveling out of this land.
The Grinch was so mad he gave a snort. For indeed, it was true. The Grinch's plan, this did thwart. The driver had caused the plan to come up short. The Grinch was busted, just like Paul Manafort. The Grinch set out on foot, as he had no machines to carry him along over hills and ravines. On the long way to Whoville, his thoughts intervened. He wondered repeatedly, would Mike Flynn spill the beans? Finally, he arrived at the village of
Later, you can have some after it's over.
He saw all the homes he was going to break into.
Yes.
He approached one home that he wanted to pursue, but was stopped at the door by a girl named Cindy Lou.
What?
I don't like your little games. Don't
Not Cindy Lou.
your to stage. You make me play. I don't like you.
You thought you were gonna sneak in here?
Cindy Lou asked.
Oh wow.
The Grinch was surprised with her fierceness and wrinkled his brow.
Oh dear, I was just visiting.
The Grinch did meow.
Oh screw that.
Cindy Lou sneered.
This crap ends now.
What? Oh, jeez.
I sing better than you. You don't frighten me. Matt Lauer, Roy Moore, Charlie Rose, and Bill O'Reilly. Kevin Spacey, John Coyers, Mark Halpin, and Harvey. Although I do wonder, why not Woody?
Cindy Lou was not one bit amused.
Mr. Grinch, you're gonna have to choose. Get out of my house or you will lose.
Whoa, what's that?
She said defiantly, like her hero, Mayor Carmen Yulin Cruz.
Gee,
The Grinch was so flustered he just took a seat. What could he do? Perhaps he could tweet? A divisive message about a Confederate monument or black athlete? But Cindy Lou grabbed the phone.
My work's not complete.
Oh, jeez.
Look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. Look what you just made me do. Look what you just made me do.
We're sick of your games. I've laid down my marker. We don't want you to take us back to days that are starker. We're all fighting back. The Alabamans, the New Yorkers. You're nothing but a racist, hateful carnival barker.
Was the Grinch's support really so empty?
No.
As his poll numbers fell into the 20s,
What? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez.
worried, the Grinch began to get sweaty. All his dreams now suddenly seemed quite petty. the Grinch realized his days of straight looting had ceased. And he watched the Who's, young and old, sit down for a feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who tofu beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then the Who's did something he liked least of all. Every Who, down in Whoville, the tall and the small, they stood close together with all the bells ringing. They stood hand in hand and the Who's started singing. They sang and they sang and they sang, though up on the hill they saw yet another Grinch. And another and another and another. The Who's banded together and sharpened their skills to face any fool coming down from the hill. They made plans to take back the hill and the house and the streets and the parks and the oceans and towns and the whats and the wheres and the hows and the whys. Because stealing is stealing in any disguise. And there are rights that 1,000 laws cannot douse. And no one should be left with crumbs, not even a mouse. And you know, we all wish we had Babe's blouse.
Woo! Okay, let's sing!
What's inside?
We know it's
Last time petty this year, so it's an honor.
We know what's right. We got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing us around. We'll stand our ground and we won't back down. One more time. We know what's right. We got just one life in a world that keeps on pushing us around. And we'll stand our ground and we won't back down.
Trying to make some syncopation happen.
Again for all of our puppet singers. You know, this is not a funny year. These are really desperate, horrible, devastating times, but at the same time, we hope and believe that we can work together. A lot of us here are already doing that to try to stop things, to create new good things, to build it where we want to be in. So thank you for being here and sharing this with us, and we look forward to hanging out with you the rest of the night. If you want to stay for the 10 o'clock show, you can give us feedback. And anything else you want to say? Alright, well also I do want to say, for me personally it's really fun. I mean, I do this down, I had a little goof up, but it's a lot easier for me back there. Hey! You're so grown up, it just took me a minute to realize who you are. And the 10 o'clock show is fun because these guys had a little drinking going on, so there's like, it's fun. So, alright, enjoy the party, there's still food, drinks, everything. If people want to make a fire, we could try, but we thought it was kind of gross out, so we didn't really rock that this year.